Roll call, please.
Armenta,
Here.
Hale,
Here.
Kaufman,
Here.
Candela,
Here.
Kwan, here, Lozada,
Here.
Sullivan.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we now open the floor for public comments on agenda items. Do we have any public comments on agenda items? Okay, there being no public comments, we move on to presentations.
Mr. Walford, would you like to present the summer school learning programs update?
I would love to. Good evening. I get to use a clicker. So, in front of you and in part of the presentation is the data report from VPort, which is the digital access for our summer school reading program, which is Time Warp Plus. It's a prescribed scripted program. It's designed for students who are identified as usually having a slide over the summer or regression. It is really meant to prevent that regression. Any gains is really a bonus, but we're really preventing that slide. Each of the grade levels studies reading about an ancient civilization, from ancient Africa and China to Latin America, Greece and Rome, and Native American culture. The report will show percentile score, a standard score, and then for grades 1 through 7, RCT, which is fluency. Kindergartners don't take the fluency. You also see a graph on there for math. We do 30 minutes of math regardless throughout the summer for every child enrolled in the program. The math is conducted from 3rd grade on, just for attention span, and any of the life skills groups we have or the extended school year groups that were at the West Oak campus. Mr. Goldberg conducts that, and we use MobiMax. We take an average for the grade level class and the school, and then we see what the growth is for the duration of summer school. The summer school program is 6 weeks. It's 3 weeks in June, 3 weeks in July, with a week off during the holiday of 4th of July. It's 4 days a week, 3.5 hours a day. Before we begin the year for summer school, every year the district provides qualified professional development for the program from VPort's Voyager Sopris, and it is mandatory for anybody who is new to teaching it, but it's open to everybody for refreshers, and we get veteran teachers who like to get touch-ups and do that, and I think the results show it. So when we go through, the first one is the reading data. You can see the pre and post test score. This is percentage, just an overall for the cohort of the class, obviously, and so it shows the growth. Very significant. It's a very productive program, and the children, they like it because it's about ancient Civ. And when they're done, they get to keep all the books that are part of the program. So a child kit comes with everything they need, and the children get to keep those reading materials. And I know the teachers really do like the program as well. So that's the table, and then I put it into a graph format for you. You can see the growth, the pre and the post, and then the growth. The next one would be, it's the same test, but it's the raw score. It's the score that came out of it. And it's a cohort score group rather than trying to do every individual child. And it shows the growth on it. We do the pre-test at the start of the summer school. The first 2 days of summer school, it's conducted. And then it is not a digital test, so it's conducted on paper. The teachers then assess it and then enter it into the VPort. And then at the end, we conduct it again, and so to see the growth of the 6 weeks of the program. And then here's the graph. You can see how kindergarten, looks like it's so great, but their score is pretty high up there, and then it kind of tapers down. But really significant is the growth. If you see any growth, I think that's a real victory when you look at a summer program. As I continue, you will notice second grade, it's 0.3 of a regression in fluency. The rest of the grades, and kindergarten does not do fluency, but the rest of the grades did show positive. 0.3 of a slide really, to me, is not statistically significant. So I think maintaining is the minimum expectation. I think that was accomplished even with the second grade. And again, you can see that the number of words read in that time period increases as the student's grade level increases. So that's why you see in 7th grade 157 to 163, but you see in 1st grade 28 to 35. So you're still just seeing that. I mean, it makes sense. The kids are exposed to more vocabulary and they're able to read the words. And then the math, Mr. Goldberg takes the MobyMax. We assess the kids where they are at the beginning of the term for summer school. He creates an average score for the summer school program. Then we have the ESY 1 and 2. That's extended school year. That's children who are there for special ed services. We include them in the rotation as well. Dr. Fredericks, we've been working on this for several years. And then each grade level cluster, we have one that's a shared 3rd, 4th grade cluster. But you see the pre-test and the post-test. And that level gain, you could consider it 3 months, 1 month. That's how it's read. So it's 33 hundredths of a percentage, or 1/3 of a year gain. So it shows again that the math program and the reading program, the kids are responding to, and the students are doing a nice job teaching it with fidelity. And then, of course, there's the graph. Demonstrates just another visual to show the table. And those are just a graph of just the gains itself, which I always like to look at. Sometimes the table graphs or the bar graphs get too much. It's rewarding to see that the teachers work so hard and the kids do well, that we see this type of growth. And thank you. I want to thank the board for this year. We did not charge anybody to come to the reading intervention. Last year we had that discussion as a board, and it seemed to be that, and we had 3 students last year. We just had kids get enrolled. Teachers at all 3 schools worked hard to recruit children. We start out stronger in June, and it fades after the 4th of July. So the data shows matched students. So the students from the beginning of the term and at the end of the term, it's only the matched data. It would be different if it were unmatched. But I think we lost probably about, I would say, 20 students, after the 4th of July. It just seems to, vacations happen and things change. And I think sometimes summer sports programs pick up. Are there any questions that I might be able to answer to the board or anybody?
Did we have Spanish intervention this summer too?
The Spanish is more of a culture club. It's just an expansion and an opportunity for students to discover more of biliteracy, bicultural, and bilingualism. And so they're exposed. There's not a pre and a post with that. But we did offer the Spanish Culture Club. Dr. Juraca funded that through Title III grant, and it was taught by Ms. Enriquez. And we had students come in and they learn about different countries, speaking Spanish language, cultures and customs, foods and dances. You'd walk by in a room, they're dancing, they're doing a research about celebrations, they're looking at clothing. So it's a very nice program.
On the number of kids that dropped off the program, how many of them alerted you that they were not going to be coming back?
We don't get much alert.
Okay.
We try calling, and we call parents and they say, well, we're on vacation, or
Okay. All right.
we're not able to do this anymore. we take who we get, and we're glad we're able to offer this program. I do think, one thing I've taken from this is, this will be my last report to you for summer school. Next year, looking at the window when we close, if we have some snow days or something, and then the start of the year, we may have to reconfigure how it looks. And the 4th of July is on a weekend, so it may shift and change. And so that might be more advantageous for a little bit more robust data with the consistency.
And then one more follow-up. As far as the data itself, will the parents learn about this? Because this is important information, especially the growth that they've experienced.
I can print out the data, and we can definitely send it home with the children. And we can do it either mail it home, or we could do it at the beginning of the school year and get it to the homeroom teachers.
Or even send it as a link on our, website.
Right, but I think I could print out individual student
Oh, individual
reports.
reports, yeah.
I can do that as well, but this presentation can go,
Mhm.
obviously, Mr. Hanson, so.
Is it all voluntary, or is it just, are some students like required to take them on?
We don't have a requirement. We highly recommend. The process begins after the second benchmark in December or January. That data is taken off Alpine, and then rosters by grade levels are generated. They're shared with the principals, who share them with their teachers, who then confirm, yes, this child would benefit, or this child, it's just a blip in the test. We don't use one data point. We want 2 benchmarks, plus if the child is receiving intervention and teacher confirmation. So we're really looking at 4 different validations. And then that information is sent home to parents and communicated. The communication is primarily in English and Spanish. Teachers make phone calls, we send letters out, we then arrange the bus transportation. We also provide breakfast and a snack for the children. And I'd like to thank Mr. Rogers to make sure that that continues, but to thank him for having that this year. The children are very much appreciative. They come in and everybody likes a breakfast. Even if they've eaten, they'll take something. And then they'll take a snack home for the bus ride home, or they'll just, eat it in class when it's time. So it's not, we don't have, required, we have highly recommended. And we don't want to shy and, turn anyone away either. So we do have people who are interested, like the summer Spanish, culture camp is a big one. Unfortunately, we've tried to do STEM or STEAM. We've offered different opportunities, different grade level bands. We reduced the price. It was still at $100. It's just too expensive. And I do know that Carl Sandburg District 75 and Mundelein High School, they had the same effect. They get 3 or 4 total. So we may combine efforts with Sandburg and us and the high school and allow that to somehow come together so we can get the kids to the high school for a STEAM camp. And then presently, right now, we have summer band going on. I see your son, and I see your son at the band, and your son is at the band. So, it's really started this week, and it's hard to believe that next Thursday they'll have a concert. It sounds good in the halls. It's a lot better than hearing the drills and everything else going on. So it's refreshing to have kids in the halls and in the school. So, but are there any other questions?
I'm sorry, how many, I forgot, how many students attended at the beginning?
I don't have the exact numbers. I did the match numbers. This data represents just under 100, 95-ish or so. But I want to say we had like 130. So, and some of those children were sporadic, and their data would have been invalidated anyway.
Good.
But it's still good data.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I turn this off, Eric?
Let's take it.
I don't, this is fancy stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now moving on to the business agenda. Just so everyone knows, item B was added to the business agenda earlier this evening, so that you can see we need to approve the tentative budget and set the hearing date tonight. Okay, So some of these items are for action tonight, others are not. The first item is the omnibus vote agenda. That is not for action tonight. We will be voting on that at our next meeting. Does anyone have any questions or discussion for that? Okay. If not, we will move on. Eric, do you went through this presentation last time. I don't know if there's.
I did. There's not any substantive updates right now. I will have updates by the time it's actually approved.
Okay.
So I'll go through and I'll usually have a column for the original budget, any addendums that I did or additions, and then we go down there.
Okay. John and Vicki, I know you guys weren't here last time, and I just want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions if you might have them on the budget or the presentation that's in the packet.
Yeah, if you guys would like to, I'd be happy to meet with you individually if you wanted me to go over it. I try to lay it all in the presentation format, then there's a little bit more background data on some of the other attachments. So if you guys need anything, just please let me know.
Okay, Eric, I do want you to, let them know if parents or anyone approaches them. I think that was a very important
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. So if you guys have parents that approach you and they want to have some conversations about the budget, please direct them my way. I'll be happy to talk to them. The door's always open.
Okay, if no one has any other questions on that, then we will proceed with voting on that. Whereas ILSC 1055/17-1 directs the board to provide at least one public hearing prior to final action on the budget, and whereas the notice of public hearing must be published in a local newspaper at least 30 days prior to the time of the hearing, therefore be it resolved, the Diamond Lake School District Board of Education approves the 2019-2020 tentative budget as presented and sets September 24th, 2019 at 7 p.m. as the date for the public hearing on the 2019-2020 budget. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Lozada?
Yes.
Candela?
Yes.
Armenta?
Yes.
Hale?
Yes.
Altman?
Yes.
Kwan? Yes. Sullivan? Yes.
Okay. The next item is also up for action tonight, and that is the reciprocal reporting agreement between District 76 and the Lake County Sheriff's Department, correct?
Correct. And this is new. We haven't had to do this before, but this is something new that the Sheriff's Department requested, just so we can share records between our organizations and have transparency with reports and data. So she's outlined it. As you can see, the lieutenant's outlined pretty much what the reports and the release of information are in the letter, and then the first item is just the action item, the resolution.
Do you have any issues with it?
No.
Administration?
No, I think we do this. I think this is just a way to document this. So I think in the past, we've had a really nice open arrangement, relationship with them and a partnership with them, so very supportive.
Does anyone else have any questions at all? Okay, then we will move on to vote. Be it resolved that the Diamond Lake 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the reciprocal report agreement allowing and fostering clear and open lines of communication and the sharing of information between the district and the Sheriff's Office. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Altman?
Yes.
Lozada?
Yes.
Armenta?
Yes.
Hale?
Yes.
Candela?
Yes.
Kwan? Yes. Sullivan? Yes.
Okay. Moving on to our press policies. At the last meeting, we had our first reading and went through the new system that we're using. Makes it pretty easy to see what's been changed. Nikki and John, I don't know if you guys have any questions about any of them or want to have any discussion before we move on for action, but I thought I'd give you guys the opportunity. No? Nikki?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, well, if no one has any questions, then we will move on to vote. Whereas policy creation and updates and changes to adopted policies are provided for District 76 through the subscription to Policy Reference Education Subscription Service, PRESS, from the Illinois Association of School Boards, IASB, and whereas the Policy Committee reviewed the policies and a first reading of the policies was held at the June 4th, 2019 combined board meeting, Therefore be it resolved, the Diamond Lake School District 76 Board of Education moves to approve the policy changes as presented and reviewed in IASB Press Issue 100. 220, powers and duties of the Board of Education, indemnification. 430, revenue and investments. 4100, insurance management. 4110, transportation. 4150, facility management and building programs. 4160, environmental quality of buildings and grounds. 5250, leaves of absence. 5330, sick days, vacation, holiday and leaves. 615, school accountability. 4190, targeted school violence prevention program. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Juan? Yes. Candela?
Yes.
Armenta?
Yes.
Hale?
Yes.
Hauptman?
Yes.
Lozada?
Yes.
Sullivan? Yes.
And Daisy, just to check in with you on that, this is much easier, right, than the last,
Definitely.
than our previous
Yes.
hand updating of our,
Yes.
okay,
Thank you.
great. Okay, moving on to the last item we have for action tonight, which is personnel. Be it resolved, the Diamond Lake 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the personnel items as depicted on the agenda. And we have 3 resignations. May I have a motion to approve?
Juan? Yes. Candela?
Yes.
Armenta?
Yes.
Hale?
Yes.
Hauptman?
Yes.
Lozada?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay, that concludes our business agenda for this evening. Moving on to board discussion.
So the only item I have for board discussion is the list of governing board dates. And I know that as a follow-up to last meeting, Mrs. Hale asked if we could, if Daisy could put together a chart of all the dates and the locations of the board packet. So you all have those, and if you can just let either Daisy or myself know if you're able to attend. I know the next board meeting for CEDAW is August 28th, and the packet is attached. So, and the information was sent, so I'm not sure if anyone's available to do that. We can check that also at the next meeting, which is August 20th. So we still have some time if you can't commit to August 28th right now.
Is anyone available right now, though, that knows that they can attend? Julianne, do they need a quorum for this meeting because it's their budget hearing? I
Yes.
think so.
Again, there's 4 board meetings a year with CEDAW. It is helpful if there can be consistency, just so that you kind of know what's going on and understand the process, but basically CEDAW will take a quorum regardless of who attends. But it has to be a board member. I do also attend.
Any takers?
I might be available. You can put me as a question mark.
Sure.
You can put me down as a backup, just.
Okay.
And the packets is attached, but we can always resend it, and we'll attach it to the next meeting too, just in case, just so if you do decide to go, it's there.
This was helpful to have the packet, I think, in our agenda, just so we could see the information.
Okay, we'll make a note of doing it next time too. As soon as we get it, we'll just move it.
Yeah. That's great. Anything else on CEDAW?
Just real quick to clarify, for the public hearing at 6:30, we have to be there for that hearing or just for the general meeting?
Thank
I
you.
believe just the general meeting,
Okay.
it would follow the same rules that you would hear. You have to have that meeting as a part of it, but it's the public piece.
Okay.
But they couldn't start that without a quorum, right? Or can they? Probably, I mean.
They shouldn't because they're not taking action, but it's their opportunity for the public to comment on it.
Right.
No, because the point of, I guess, the hearing and having that public comment is so the board can hear feedback, and that may or may not impact their decision to vote yes or no for the budget, or may ask for specific requests to change or amend the budget. So they should. Now technically, can you start the meeting without a quorum? Yes. But like I said, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Okay. Okay, moving on, it looks like we had one FOIA request that was fulfilled. Notices and communications.
Just in front of you is, it's that time again for Triple I, so you see the pre-conference workshops. So if anybody would like to attend, the conference officially starts Friday through Sunday, but if you'd like to attend earlier, there's some all-day workshops. But if you'd like to attend too, we'll get you the information. And just let Daisy know, we'll take care of registering for you. But these are just the all-day pre-conference workshops prior to the actual conference starting. So we'll put that out for you. We'll just get a link just so you can see. If you'd like to register online, just let Daisy know.
Is this something the entire board attends?
You know what, in the past, no. Mrs. Yaffe and Mrs. Vogt were the only two that attended in the past, like, not every year. You know, it was kind of sporadic in the 4 years that I've been here. And Mr. Castor did it in 1 year too.
Do you know that full-day workshop with the development leadership training and the para training, does that count as your training?
It will count towards the training. Somebody, Ms. Sullivan, I think, was interested in doing that, and I believe it's only on Friday so that she can do the PDLT and para training.
Okay. So for anyone that hasn't taken that training, and if you don't want to just do it on your computer, that might be an option too. Okay, moving on to others. Oh, no, sorry. Now we move on to public comments and petitions on non-agenda items. Do we have any public comments or petitions on non-agenda items this evening? Okay, there being no public comments, we move on to others.
Okay, so all of the items that are under others are follow-up from last board meeting. So as we shared, that we're going to just keep the board dates and any special presentations or things that we have attached as a regular attachment for board meeting dates for 1920. Mr. Hansen added the school messenger metrics as a follow-up from January to July. Dr. Draka added the STAR assessment results from the change in assessments that he reported on at last meeting. So are there any questions on any of those?
Mr. Hansen, can you just talk us through the media metrics, please?
Sure. Is this just for the school messenger part of it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just pulling it up right now. Is there any particular questions you have, or just like overview?
I'm not quite following what it.
Not.
It's the
Particularly when
Yeah.
it gets to delivered, not delivered, then opened, and
Yeah,
then
it's
delivered again. And
yeah. So we've had school messenger since January. So I had to omit some areas that were based off testing. But the phone one's pretty straightforward on whom answered, who it went to the machine. If it was a busy signal, I'll reconnect and so on and so forth. Regarding emails, it will send out an email to all addresses that are there. And there are duplicates based off students. So if you have multiple students, you're receiving email. Okay, so sometimes there is some duplicates that you would see where it says duplicate. I have a feeling that the rate of emails we send out for the school, for PTO, and for others, you get a higher rate there. So for duplicates, it's not going to. It's a number. I'm going to contact them specifically, but I have a feeling it's not sending out duplicate emails to you based off your kids. You're just going to get one, and it's just counting it a huge number. Blocked, that whole area, you wouldn't see. I only saw it in January. I think that was an area where people were not they haven't accepted yet getting school messenger since we started in January. That's why I never saw it after that month. So I took out every single, like I just factored that in because I didn't see that after January.
I got you. Okay.
Texting was always those metrics essentially is that everybody received it, but there are some people that have not opted in, or it could be that they have phone numbers changed, or they're using a particular phone that doesn't accept SMS text messaging. So a lot of times we have typically have done is an initiative where we share with our families to make sure that they have an opt-in campaign so that people can type in this particular number, short code, and they'll receive text messages as well. seeing at this from a glance of the past several months, I intend on showing it more on a monthly view. It's gonna be a lot easier to see, especially if you see something that is off, to make any sort of changes and address it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on those two attachments? Okay, and then item D is the board retreat dates. Thank you, everyone who participated in the doodle to poll for the dates. The two most popular dates are Friday the 27th or Saturday, October 5th to do the board retreat. The only caveat is Daisy's not available on the 5th, which is not a big deal, so we can just, we could record them because it's closed session anyway, so we can record it. But the board retreat dates, I just showed, if you click on that attachment, it's just a screenshot of the doodle poll. So I guess the issue is that Mrs. Kwan is not available on Friday the 27th, and
I'm not available then either.
And Miss, it's
Clicked
the
it incorrectly.
Okay, so, and then on October 5th, Mrs. Sullivan's not available.
Oh, I can make myself available.
Oh,
I just
okay.
thought you were asking for a favorite date.
Available, like, see, as you can see, all mine are all checked off, and the ones I'm available on, so, yeah. Okay, so if we want to, Mr. Armenta, are you available on October 5th?
Yes.
Okay, so then, does that work if we schedule it for Saturday, October 5th? All right.
What's the time?
Does 9 to noon work for everybody?
9 to noon, you said?
Does that work for everybody? Okay. I'll send a calendar invite tomorrow, and then start working on the agenda to share out. And then the last item, I'm going to jump down to F, is just the facilities update. So it's just our July video, in case you haven't had a chance to look at it. That was sent out last week to families. And then item E, I'm going to turn it over to Daisy, but I just want to share what a great turnout and I think partnership that we had, not only with the Mundelein community, but also with the high school for the health fair. In years past, you know, I've been there and it's been pretty sporadic as far as attendance. But if you click on the attachment, you can see how many families and students were served. And, you know, if you looked on social media, just the crowd that was there, it was absolutely amazing and so impressive. So I want to thank Daisy for all her hard work and partnership with the high school and with the parent groups, with BPAC, of getting this out there, getting the word out, and encouraging people to come and recruiting people to come and to work. So it was great. Very nicely attended. So Daisy, do you want to comment on that?
Sure. Yeah, I think when we were planning for this, in the past, it sounds like not that many people attended, but I think we did a really good job with posting on social media, communicating with our families via text messages, and I think we were even kind of overwhelmed when we got there that there were so many people, and we didn't think that many people were going to benefit from this, but they really came out and really took advantage of all of the services that we offered. So I think, yeah, going into it planning, we were thinking, you know, what would be helpful, but I think everything was very, very helpful for the parents. It was a one-stop shop. They did their immunizations, their physicals, dentists, and then we took community closet. Our maintenance really helped to take everything over there, and just going over there, sorting through everything, organizing, and having students kind of pull, you know, help us keep it organized throughout the day. It was from 9 to 3:30. But yeah, and like Bhavna said, it's a really great partnership that I don't think that we were expecting that many people to come out and really benefit from this going into the new school year. So yeah, thank you guys for allowing me to do that. And yeah, again, and we're planning more things for the rest of the year, so I'll be following up with other events that we do.
I know there's going to be one, especially with our community closet, because we talked about condensing that into maybe 3 or 4 times a year as opposed to monthly. So I think that really made a bigger difference of knowing that this was like a back to school, you know, closet drive, and then we'll do something around the holidays and maybe towards the end of the year. So I think our families are really going to benefit from that piece of it as well to enhance it.
That's great. Daisy, this total number, that's total students that attended, right? It's not District 76 students?
It's not, it's just total students that were there, so, I don't think that I can double check to see if we kept track of District 76 students, but I know that they were, just from all over the community that were attending.
That's a great turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
And that's all of it.
Does anyone else have any others? Well, then we will move into executive session. It's a pretty quick board meeting. Can I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me read the reasoning. We're going to move into executive session for collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and for the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the district, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Now, can I have a motion? Oh, and more, thank you. And the discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed, whether for purposes of approval by the body of minutes or semi-annual review of minutes as mandated by section 2.06 of 5 ILCS 120/2 CE 21. Okay, now may I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Lozada,
Yes.
Candela,
Yes.
Armenta,
Yes.
Hale,
Yes.
Altman,
Yes.
Kwan, yes, Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.